We all experience challenging and difficult situations in life. In the face of these complexities, it is not always clear how to respond, what to do, or what to avoid. It's easy to get stuck in these moments and stop moving forward in life. Wholeness with Naomi is a program that explores our experiences with such encounters and provides tools and strategies that can enable anyone facing these hardships to continue walking their path in life. We can't wait to meet you on this journey. Tune in, your life is about to change for the better.
Welcome to our program, Wholeness with Naomi, where we talk about difficult and sometimes different things that may come our way. More importantly, we talk about some of the tools that you can use as you navigate in this difficult and different parts that you might be finding yourself in. Our roads, they move us from one place to the other. We are able to go to school, we are able to go to work. Like recently, schools has just opened. Children are using the same roads to go to school. Parents are using the same roads as they go to work. That is beautiful. But what happens when tragedy strikes? When one has met with an accident on the road? Not only that, they still have to continue using that same road to go to work. How do they deal with the trauma that comes with it? Joining us on the program today is Sister Maja. Welcome to the program, ma'am.
Thank you, Naomi. It's good to be here.
Thank you. Do share with us what happened to you.
All right, so on the 1st of December 2013, I was traveling along the Harare-Bulawayo Road. I was going to Chekutu. You see,
Okay.
A friend of mine had lost her husband. And for some reason, I didn't want to travel.
Okay.
But a part of me felt that, I mean, how will I look at her and say, oh, I'm sorry about your husband? So I decided to go on the day of burial, which was the 1st of December. So I remember getting transport along Bulawayo Road just before the Kwadzana 7 bus stop. And we got into an Ipsum. There were 4 people already in the vehicle.
Okay.
And no, there were 5 people in the vehicle, and I became the 6th. And at the Kwadzana 7 roundabout bus stop, we got the 7th guy. And then we were on our way. It was a beautiful day. The sky was clear. Nothing looked amiss. I mean, the day was beautiful. The skies were blue. Just after Norton Turnoff, as we were approaching the toll gate, remember I was reading a book, and I heard a sound.
Okay.
So I remember I looked up, trying to ascertain what was happening. Everybody was quiet. So I waited for the sound again, because it seems like we were on the right path, nothing was amiss. Then the sound came again. Then I realized that the rear left tire had burst.
Oh,
Because I had gone under Kakara.
okay.
Then, as I was still trying to figure out that and what could possibly happen, I found a Mudenga, just like that. And I was like, Sakatutu accident. And in my mind, because this was the first time, I didn't know how to react. No one in the vehicle screamed or cried or anything. We just sat there. And my mind was racing. I had so many thoughts in my mind. Am I going to die? What's going to happen to me after this? But the one thing that struck out, I remembered that, you die, there's a heaven. I remembered that.
In that moment, you're thinking about that.
And I remember I prayed. My prayer was less than a minute long.
Okay.
And I remember I said, Lord, I don't know what's happening here. And I don't want to die.
Okay.
At least not today, not like this. But should it be your will, please forgive me of all my sins. Write my name in the book of life.
In that moment.
In that moment.
That was,
Yeah.
That was
In
beautiful, if I could
Jesus'
say.
name.
Yes.
Amen. Pandakati, amen. I found myself on the ground. And I don't know how I fell. I don't know how I came out. Ndakazona ndapha ground. And a couple of moments later, I had a crash behind me. So I fell ndichitarisa kwataiva. So I had the crash in the direction that we were going. Then I just sat there. And I said, I'm out. Okay. We rode about 7 times before I was finally thrown out. And that moment was the beginning of a journey that has transformed my life in ways that I never could have imagined.
Okay, but before we get there, how did you, or do you still remember, how did you come out of the car? I presume that you were the only one that came out who was lying on the road. What happened to the car?
The car yaka-crasher, then the people, Vangavari Mumu Mota, they passed on. One gentleman, the one akakwira pakwadza, the last one, is the one I came out with. He's the one I went to Norton Hospital with. Then from there we went to Paranyatwa Hospital. He passed on. Paranyatwa right next to me.
That's it.
So the guy, and I was looking at him and I realized that the guy is not moving because he had cuts and bruises. He was bleeding from everywhere. I didn't have cuts and bruises. I just had this part of my face, so I just had this injured upper, but nowhere else. I looked perfectly fine. I was not in pain. I didn't realize that I had so many internal injuries, but in the moment, I guess my body was still in shock. I felt okay. I looked okay, yeah.
So the scar on your face as well, is as a result of the accident?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Oh yes. I had head injury, so when I fell, I did. So my face, my head, breaker this way. Then my eye I think it's just by the grace of God. There is no doniramkati. Maybe because of the impact, I could have lost my eye. So kutodoniramkati was a way of saving the eye.
That was very traumatic.
It was.
How was your life altered or changed as a result of this accident?
There are so many things that we tend to take for granted. You know, you go to bed and you wake up in the morning. And sometimes we carry a certain level of entitlement. We think it's just our right to wake up. That moment reminded me that life, we don't have control over life. You don't have the time that you think you have. I remember before I left for Chegutu, two of my aunts had come to visit. And I said to them, Dimiriri, I'll see you around 3 p.m. I'll be back. I did not see my husband. I did not see my son when I left. And in that moment, I was thinking that I probably might never see them again. The memory that they have of me is the previous memory, Yanezuru. Then today, there's just nothing. So the accident for me reminded me the value of life, the sanctity of life, and the grace, Yatino Piwa, to wake up, go through your day and do whatever, and still come back and be able to do the same thing tomorrow. It was life-changing for me.
It was. But I want us to also just go through the impact in terms of the emotions, in terms of psychologically, how the accident did affect you.
I had learned from my clinical background, I'd learned about depression, just briefly. You know, Kanachino, interest natural. You are learning so that you finish the program so that you can move on with the course. I had learned about depression, I'd learned about PTSD, but the practical implementation in my life, I had no idea.
Okay.
So when I came out of the accident and I started going through the motions, I didn't realize that I actually had PTSD.
Okay.
My mind didn't register. I'm actually unwell psychologically.
There are some people, Sister Maja, that do not know what PTSD stands for and what it is. Would you like just to share a little bit about that?
All right. So PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder. This happens immediately. It's a stress response from your body after an event has taken place.
Okay.
So my body went through a series of what's happening with me. You see, the mind is a delicate, I'd like to call it an entity. A mind wants to understand things. When something that is outside the norm of what you're used to happens, your mind demands to understand. My mind wanted to understand what had happened, how it had happened, who was to blame, why we were like this, why we could not do the things that we used to do. So for me, I didn't want to address that part. I wasn't sure I wanted to get to that part of the conversation with myself. So I ignored it in my mind. I remember every time it would try to come out, push it at the back of my mind. And I went through the motions of emotional dysregulation. I went through hypervigilance. I went through hyperarousal. I had emotional numbness. Then it was an emotional roller coaster. But at the 7-year mark, my mind literally just shut down.
Thank you for that sharing, Sister Maja. That is really quite a lot that your body, your mind was handling. But before we get into that, viewers, let's take a short break to join me in the next segment. Thank you. Before we went on a short break, Sister Maja was sharing with us the traumatic experience that she had as a result of the accident that she encountered, how she was affected by PTSD. Would you mind just sharing a little bit more about that, Sister Maja?
So the mental health aspect of everything, the mind has the power to govern how we see things, how we relate to things, how we comprehend events that take place in our lives. And in regards to my experience, my mind wanted to be sure that I was safety. You see, the greatest need for everybody is safety. And through the nervous system, your body is looking to keep you safe. Safe from harm, safe from anything that can potentially harm you. As your body is able to pick what is safe and what is not. For me, it was the road, vehicles, anything that had anything to do with traveling.
My no longer was safe for you.
Was picked that is not safe.
Okay.
So every time I would get into a car, even an ambulance, I would be so anxious. I would be so quick to look around. Speed. I would make sure I sit where I can see the speedometer. I never sat anywhere where I could not see the speedometer. Anything above 80 for me, that was a trigger. I would ask them to drop me off. It was that edginess. You're quick, always scanning. Your mind is always scanning your surrounding to make sure that you are safe. So I went through that process without actually realizing that I was actually going through it.
And in that, your body was hyper alert.
My body was too alert, actually. It was too alert. It was the sound of anyone moving that would, make me jump. I was so sensitive to people around me. I was so sensitive to the movement of things around me. I was afraid. I was literally scared of cars. I remember after the accident, it took me a good 3 years before I was able to comfortably just sit in a car and go somewhere.
Okay.
For me, that was a lot. I think year 3, the furthest I went was Bulawayo. And for me, that was a huge achievement. It was a huge achievement.
Okay. So how was your day-to-day life affected by the PTSD? You mentioned that you were hypervigilant, you were always scanning around, your body was looking for places where it could be safe. On a day-to-day basis, what did it look like, these effects that you were experiencing?
I withdrew from everything that I knew. Because for me to get to work, I needed to use a vehicle. For me to get anywhere, I needed to move around. So for me, safety looked like my home.
Okay.
For me, safety looked like my house, my bedroom actually. And besides, I had a fracture femur. I had an open book fracture of the pelvis. My back was also broken. So because of that, for me, mobility was already an issue. But it would have been easier to motor and go somewhere. It's that idea of getting into a vehicle that I did not want. So I withdrew from life. I withdrew from activities that I had done prior. I withdrew from anything that would give me any sense of joy. For me, I needed to be safe, where I could control my narrative, where I could control my environment, and that was my bedroom. And I tried to keep it that way.
Okay. So what came out more was the need for you to control.
Yes.
Because it felt like if I'm in control, then I may prevent.
Nothing bad will happen
Nothing
to me.
bad will happen to me. But at the same time, you also needed to go to work.
I did. It was a tall order. It was a tall order. But I guess somewhere along the way, there was a measure of independence that I got. Because remember, the doctors had ruled out that I was never able to walk. I was never going to walk. by the grace of God, I woke up day 55. My initial admission was 59 days. Day 55, I woke up, and the legs that were said would never walk took 2 steps. For me, oh my goodness. The previous day, there's a lady that I had nursed. She came to visit me, and she said to me, "Hi, Memo." And honestly, I thought she had died, because the last time I saw her, she was really ill. And she said, "You think I died, Ka?" And she laughed. I was embarrassed, because that's actually what I thought. And she said, "You took good care of me." And when I heard that you were in an accident, I said, "Lord, have mercy on that girl." So I want to pray for you. Whatever you want, don't tell it to me. Tell it to the Lord in prayer. I'm just going to agree with you in prayer. Okay. Our prayer was less than 2 minutes long. And I remember my prayer was short. I said, "Lord, how will I be able to do my job? How will I be able to move from one place to another? You know I love my job. Please give me back my legs." That was my prayer. And that was it. The following morning, I woke up walking. I just took 2 steps. And that moment, it changed the trajectory of my life. I knew I could walk again. But then, I then needed to be rehabilitated so that my body would gain strength and stamina again, so that I would be able to walk. That took a couple of months before I was able to do it. But eventually, when I was able to, I felt a sense of independence. Finally, I can now do this. I can go back to my life. I can do that. But then I was afraid of going. I wanted the independence, but my mind kept saying, "Akusi safe." There's no other way to get there. So I battled with that emotionally. I battled with that psychologically. But by the grace of God, eventually, I did one day at a time. Before I knew it, I was on my way.
Thank you for that sharing, Sister Maja. Viewers, let's take a short break to join me in the next segment. Sister Maja, I think viewers are also interested in finding out, from the first time that you went into the hospital up to where you are right now, what are those things that helped you to be able to go through and to be able to wake up and keep having hope that it could be different? I may be able to walk, and being actually able to walk.
I realized that, not initially. Initially, I had a great support system. When I went to Parenyatwa Hospital, the staff at Parenyatwa was amazing. Most of these people I'd worked with, most of these people I'd socialized with at one point or the other, everybody came through for me. They treated me well. They took amazing care of me. So their love, their comfort, for me, it kept me going. They were an amazing support system. Then my family, on the other hand, everybody was good to me. But on top of that, a part of me still remembered that you survived. And there's something that I wanted to realize, which was the why.
Okay.
So I held on to that. I went through the moments of anger with God. I remember my prayers were not so nice. I would just go to him and shout and vent and share my frustrations. I felt God had let me down. Why he had allowed me to survive like this, and why he had allowed everybody else to die, why he had done this way or that way. And I promise you, he never said anything back to me. So I went through my anger and frustration, but people around me understood me. So they cushioned me. They gave me a reason to want to go on with my life. And my children, on the other hand, that dependency, they looked at their mother.
They still need me.
Yeah. Their mother was not the mother that they knew. I said, I need to get better. I need to be able to walk. I need to be able to show up for these kids. So that was also a driving force for me. But come year 7 changed a lot of things in my life.
Okay.
I finally got tired of shouting at the Lord. The Lord is so merciful.
So
If
this
I
took
were
you
me-
years.
Sorry?
This took you years in a place where
Yes.
you were lamenting before God.
I was very unkind to him. I felt he had done a great injustice and he needed to tell me why, and he never did. So year 7, I finally got tired of my rantings, and I asked him, "Could you know what? I've asked you one thing repeatedly, and you have not given me a response. What now?
Okay.
What are we supposed to do with all this now?" That's when he started coming to me. That's when he started speaking to me, and he gave me purpose in that moment. He gave me a reason, his reason for allowing me to go through what I had gone through. And that really shifted my mindset from how I saw the accent. The perspective completely shifted in that moment. And I realized that it was his life anyway, not mine. When I gave my life to Christ, I got life, Christ's life. So he could use it whichever way he wanted. So I chose in that moment to yield. And I said, you know what? You have the plan. You do what you planned. I'll just be here. I'll show up whichever way you want me. And that has completely transformed my life.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I think also even for viewers, it's important to note that in the Bible, there's a book called Lamentation. It's a place where you can just lament. You know, many times we feel that we need to just say the right things to God. But he can understand your lamentations. He can understand your pain. He can understand your hurts. Even in the moment where you do not have the right or the good words to say to him,
Say the
he
first
has
thing
the
that comes to your
capacity,
mind.
yes, to actually be able to take in even the negative that's coming from your heart in that particular moment. Many people, after having gone through such a tragic incident like this one, they ask this question, why? Why did it happen to me? And the question, God, you hold the foundations of the earth in your hand. Why did you allow?
Didn't you stop this?
Why
from
didn't you stop
happening?
this? Why did you allow this to happen? Bad things sometimes happen to good people, the righteous people, because they just happened. There are many reasons. There are many things that contribute. Some of them could be the car was not safe as well. It's actually a reason, you know. The tire just bursted. But at the end, it's important to sit in your pain, like what Sister Maja did. 7 years, sit in it. Allow yourself to feel the deepest emotions. But whilst you're there, have a support system around you.
Yes.
When you come out of that place, you will come out much, much better. And you'll be able to understand why that happened, the purpose that God had in it. After all, he makes everything, even the bad, work out for our good. Sister Maja, there's someone that is listening to the show right now. They may have gone through a difficult time in their life, maybe something similar to yours. And for them, they had a disability. They were not able to walk. What would you like to say to that person?
I see you. I feel your frustration. I probably have been there. We can never have the same narrative. But the Word of God says all things work for good to those who love the Lord, who are called unto his purpose. Even that disability will work for good. Don't minimize your pain. Don't minimize your frustration. Whichever stage you are at in your process of healing, go through it. The only way out of anything is through. Don't skip any part of your process. Heal in whichever direction that you heal. At the end of this, you will look back and realize why things had to happen in the order that they happened. I am sorry you went through that. And it's not the kindest sometimes to say, be strong. Just be alive. Show up today in whichever form that you are. If you're angry, if you're tired, if you're feeling motivated, whichever way you are, show up in that way. Get through the day. Put one foot in front of the other. Keep going, keep going. As you go on, it will start to make sense. The Lord is not unrighteous to leave us. He will allow us, he will cushion our minds, he will cushion us to go through. So just hang on, keep showing up. You will get through this, I promise you.
Sister Maja, thank you for being on the show today. Thank you for sharing the difficult journey that you went through but more importantly, how you were able to walk in it and what it looked like on a day-to-day basis. Viewers, I think you've heard it. Show up one day at a time. Show up anyhow. If you're showing up angry on that day, it's okay. If you're showing up tired, in despair on that day, it's okay. Just go through that day. Do not think about next week, next year. Just go through that day in whatever state that you are able to show up. It's enough. Allow yourself to be able to grieve. She went through a road traffic accident and you're in a place where maybe there's now disability. Allow yourself to be able to grieve for the loss of the function that you had before, the life that you had before. Allow God as well to be able to work in you through that. Viewers, do join me in the next episode. But in the meantime, let's continue on Wholeness. Thank you.